hang on, you get the scary voice. There we go. So just given that there is the incentive this month that people can win the Bloom Collagen just by, it's Bloom Collagen and Lemon, isn't it? Just by enrolling 2 people or, sharing it with 2 of your friends. So we thought, let's get on. And those people who are unsure about how that works or how to get started, let's just walk you through it. So if you guys have any questions, if anyone has any questions later, they can put them in the comments in the where we post it, and we'll come back and answer them. And yeah, just wanting to demystify it and make it super easy.
Good. Cool. Anybody got any questions?
No.
To begin with? Oh, well, sometimes if you've got a question, it can lead us in other areas. But I mean, for me, the way that I always got people connected to Young Living was in person. I've never ever signed anybody up from online. Like, I mean, I wouldn't, because I'm not really an online person, so nobody really sees me. So for me, it was like getting people connected from the markets that I used to do, that Olaf and I used to do. In fact, we took over from the markets that Linda and Alan used to do at Forestville on the Northern Beaches. So that's going back a long, long time. So when we first met them, they were doing the markets, then we would meet them at the markets. And then we got connected through them, and basically they said, do you want to take over these markets? So yeah, we did. And now Barbara, Jeanette and Jenny are doing the same market. So it's sort of like this, the lineage of the Young Living family are at the same people that run the markets back then are still running them now. A little bit annoying people, we would say, but they're not easy to work with. But anyway, I've met some wonderful people that way. And the way that I got those, say, I would meet a couple of people at the markets. I'd always get their details. I would invite them to, I would always have dates to invite them to something. We haven't done that of late, simply because of, recent times in terms of COVID and all that sort of stuff. So that kind of has been put on hold. So we've got to warm back up into that. But I would always have a date set for an oil class to invite them to. And if they can't make that one, I would always have another date. So that's what I would always recommend doing with inviting, is to make sure you have a few dates ahead of time. I'm finding even now, and I think Barbara, you would agree with this because we work closely together in Avalon, still getting people coming into classes, because we've been doing that down at her shop, a little bit problematic. So basically just inviting them to classes. And
sorry, Louise, can I interrupt you there? Why is it problematic? Is it they're a bit nervous, or they're busy? What is it that's stopping people?
Yeah, they're busy. Yep. I think people are busier than even when I first started. Like fitting something in is probably a bit of a hard thing. But back in the day, what I used to do was invite a couple of people and ask them to bring somebody with them. I'd say it's always welcome for if you have a friend that you want to bring. So that's how, like, Liz invited Caitlin, and Julia was there as well. Do you remember that, Jules, in our home? I think we had about 8 or 10 people, women mainly, and we all just sat around. Do you remember that? And
I do.
That sort of just leads on from one thing. And then I think one of the first people I did enroll maybe was Julia Matheson. Maybe. Would that be right, Olaf?
Sort of, nearly.
Yeah, nearly up there with Nora. So that was like many, many years ago. Oh, no, actually, you weren't my first. In fact, I enrolled a lot of people and I got to executive really quickly. I remember that. And Julia, you weren't far behind that. So anyway, it was around that period of time. But it was all just about talking. And then, then Julia was interested because we were talking about health issues and then products. And Young Living just seemed to fit everything that she was looking for, even though she didn't believe that nutmeg and digest could help. So you sort of can never count, people out in terms of if they're starting to be have objection, because Julia had lots of, she had a lawyer hat on. We met at the markets, literally, didn't we? That's how we met.
Yeah.
And
well, we met through friends, but then I reconnected with you. You saw me
markets
at the market. And,
we met through Andy and Lisa. Yeah, but then we reconnected at the markets. That's right. So anyway,
got a little visual image of you like chasing her down and saying, "You must do this."
Louise definitely answered all. I was a definite skeptic when she said I had my lawyer hat on. Yes, I had an incredible impact with the oils and through Louise, but yeah, I guess just to pick up that one point, don't write off the person that has the biggest skeptic, because sometimes those people, and I've found that over and again, sometimes the people that do the most answering it, wanting to know, can actually, once they get satisfied in themselves, actually become very, 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 very committed, don't they?
And once I think you get satisfied with yourself is when you have your own personal experience, like Nutmeg and Digest helped you when you were in Houston, when you had no medication. So everybody, and that's the other thing, everybody has a story to share about, you know, their own personal experience. So for me, I think it was my big message of signing those two people up to begin with was to always keep it simple. Just, and I still do that. Like my whole thing is always simple. Just, you know, we know enough. We think we need to know more, and we need to have more training. We need to have, we need to have more resources. We need to have more. But in fact, that's actually complicating what is really a very simple system. And at the end of the day, we're showing people how to stitch out chemicals, and we're showing them how to swap out stuff that we use all the time, personal care products and cleaning products and, you know, beautiful aromas in our home. So for me, once I got those two people connected, or, you know, how many I got connected, it was about forming that relationship. And we used to hear years ago, and you don't hear it so much, is the fortune is in the follow-up. So you can take somebody's name, you can get them connected to a kit, but if you don't follow up, you're missing that potential fortune of what they can potentially be. And so I had no idea, say, let's use Julia and now Lisa's on, who Julia, well, I didn't know Lisa. So this is a great, you know, example. Julia then introduced Lisa, and Lisa then introduced Sula. So you just never know who that person's going to be. And Julia was one of the most resistant new members that I had, because, you know, of her background, you know, she just was like, oh, whatever, if this works. But then, yeah, personal experience took her on a different journey. So about inviting people, always have an invitation to invite them to your home, invite them to, well, you know, we've been doing it down at Barbara's shop, wherever it is that you're going to have a workshop. And tell your story. People like to hear stories because that makes it, you know, really real and authentic. So, Cress, is that the sort of direction you want me to go? Is that?
Sorry. Yeah, I mean, do you want me to follow on a little bit?
Yeah, you can chime in.
Yeah. So I guess I do more business online. So we've got kind of two different perspectives, which I think is quite helpful. So I'm on socials a lot. That really accelerated during COVID because my business was growing during that period of time. So I definitely, you know, really had to learn how to use Instagram, and I'm still not so great on Facebook, but even going over to TikTok these days, my daughter tells me that's where everybody is. But by providing information there and then to getting into conversations in messages. But I think probably one of the things with the first two, rather than making it bigger than Ben-Hur, going to, you know, finding people on socials, or even, not to be rude, Louise, but even the markets, often the people that you sign up first are your friends and family, because they can see the difference in you. And I'm looking at you, Jo, when I say this, because I know that your friends are desperate for us to have a conversation, because they can see the changes in you. They see how happy you are. They see how much better you're feeling. And that's often the first step, is just, you know, like Julia, was Lisa the first person that you shared with? You can just nod there. Was she? Yeah. So it's just, you know, if you're feeling better and you're enjoying the products, it's literally just about telling your friends about it. So for me, I have been using the oils nowhere near as long as Louise, but nearly 18 years. But I never told anybody about it until 3 years ago. And so for me, it was just something I did secretly at home. And my family and friends knew that I really enjoyed a more holistic lifestyle, but they didn't know anything about it. So I guess probably the first thing is just to rip off that Band-Aid and start talking about it. Start talking about the benefits that you're seeing, how good they make you feel, and also how easy it is to order everything from one place to your door. In terms of the actual practicality of signing people up on the website, we were talking before that as a whole, we prefer to get people's contact details and actually do the signing up for them. The website we know can be a little bit clunky at times and sometimes a little bit tricky for people to navigate. And so it is actually easier. And actually, Julia mentioned that sometimes they'll say they'll sign up, but then they get distracted and busy and they'll forget. So it really is, it is more helpful if you can to take the reins in that situation and ask for, find out what starter kit they want or whether they want their CEO. So just figure out what they want to buy first. Then just getting their contact details, their credit card number, their address, blah, blah, blah. All of us use a generic sign up password and PIN number, and that makes it easier for us to help people. And so I know Julia just said she does the same thing. I ask people to keep their PIN number the same so that I can help them in the first few months if they need any assistance. And then I say, you're absolutely welcome to change it later, but let's just keep it the same in the beginning so we can help you if you get stuck. And then in terms of the actual signing it up on the system, rather than going through and showing you, it's best if you go to your support person for that. It isn't terribly complicated, but it is something that I think if somebody shows you once, then you know how to do it. But I guess probably just a question of, I know you guys do, but for anyone who's perhaps more junior who is watching this later, so understanding that the enroller is if it's you sharing with a friend, then the enroller is you. Is that did I say that wrong? And then the sponsor is where you choose to put them in your little community of people. So that's just where you put them on the ladder, if you like.
And don't forget, I might just add to that point that when you reach executive, Young Living gives you members who come in from the placement program. So it's really important to look at your front line regularly, just in case you get somebody like that, because you do have a period of time where you can move them, because you would, when they gift you, you're the sponsor and you're the enroller. So you've got the opportunity to move them to another sponsor and you remain the enroller. If it's outside of the 5 days, like we did the other day, Barbara, I did it with Barbara. So now she's got that little template of what I did. Like it was like just a couple of sentences. And Barbara wanted to move one member, was in the 30-day period. And we always put that she was to remain the enroller and just give this new sponsor number. Always give the numbers, because you've got to think from the US point of view, they're getting names and numbers all the time. So always give the name and the membership number and that of yours as well as the enroller.
I was just thinking to just some of the reasons why you want to share it with friends. Number one, if you're loving them, chances are you want your friends to actually experience that, those benefits as well. Also, that when you do share it with someone, you will get a $65 commission bonus. And so, and then this month is the incredible Bloom Collagen offer. So it's an incentive to encourage people to share the love with their friends. And so I'm not going to remember off the top of my head, but I think if you share with 2 people, you get a 10-pack of the Bloom Collagen and lemon. Is that right, Louise? You don't happen to have the...
Yeah, I haven't got it in front of me, but yeah, the 2 people, it's lemon and 1 Bloom Collagen. Yeah, and then it goes up.
Yeah, and then it titrates up and gets even bigger and better.
If you were to enroll 8 people this month, then you get, a whole lot of other goodies as well. So I can have a look if you want to, but I think most of you probably know how to find that. We've got graphics and all that done. So yeah, so it is a really good incentive, and it's good for the enroller and it's good for the enrollee. So everybody benefits with this because they can get a really discounted, beautiful diffuser. I turned mine on, but I realized I forgot to put water in it. But that beautiful luster diffuser, beautiful hand blown glass. So it's a great opportunity. And it's also a great opportunity to remind those who already are members that, this is on offer. So always look out for what Young Living has got on offer. Mind you, I've never seen such a sale before, ever.
And I guess the other one, Louise, is that just a reminder for anyone who is new that in order to get the commissions, if you decide to take it a step up from 2 people, is that you need to be spending 100 PV each month.
Yeah, once you start getting outside the fast start bonus and it goes into the commissions, you have to be spending 100 PV. Otherwise, you don't get commissions. So if you're, if you're a senior star distributor, right up to Royal Crown Diamond. To get your commission, this is where it's quite unique to Young Living, you only have to spend 100 PB, even as a Royal Crown Diamond, which is amazing, which is like what, $200 a month. And to get in a massive check like that, that they get, because a lot of other network marketing companies, the higher rank you go, the more you have to spend. We do have the PGV, which is, you don't forget, you sign up for 2 people, but you're always wanting to be thinking about the PGV, which is the 1,000. So 2 people to silver or 2 people to executive is 4,000, 1,000 on each leg. But once you get to silver, you've got to have that third leg doing doing, how much is it? How much is the third leg? Oh, 1,000 PGV. Yeah, PGV. So that's already growing into your gold leg, right? So always have that in mind as you start moving forward. But just at the very beginning, for me, I never mention when I get somebody connected for the first time, oh, we've got a business here. You know, you can do this as a business, because a lot of people go, you know, you sort of think, well, what does that look like? I don't want to be in business. I'm already in business. We have a family business. Why do I want to be in business? So I don't really start talking about the business unless it comes up from them. I drop a little bit about the business, about more, not the business, more about sharing and how they will get like a referral fee, not fee, a referral check back from Young Living, or a bonus, the Fast Start bonus, because you just want to warm people into the products, not to think that they have to be in business, that's, you know, why you're getting them connected, so that you have another business person. So I never really start talking business, how the business looks, until that I can see that they've started to enroll someone and they've got their second level. Okay. And then you start saying, okay, now you've got, you know, an income coming in. It could be just, you know, $65. But if they've signed up 3 people, basically they're going to get their product paid for anyway. So just be careful of starting off. You can do this as a business.
Yeah, I agree. Want to get them
to be honest, back in our day, so to speak, we were never business oriented at all. It was always customers, and still today, Young Living is still, I'm not sure what the percentage is, but it's up around 90% still customers. There's only a small amount of people like us doing the business. So you want your customers to be on Essential Rewards, loving the products, because as we know, Essential Rewards equals residual income. If they're not on Essential Rewards and they're earning, if they're standard order, that's great, but that's sort of like just a normal sale, so to speak. But in business, you want them to be on ER, and of course the 50 PV is the minimum.
Does anyone have any questions, or any questions they think someone else might ask? Go.
Cressida, to your point, Louise, with the business, I'm sort of that view as well. But what I have started to do is, instead of say the word business, I always just tell, because they kind of link the principles in their head of office and business, of something that. So I always tell them that their membership includes a fully comprehensive back office with all the resources that they can go through in their own time. And if they ever wanted to share, all of that is theirs to share as well. And then you kind of, as Lisa's just put in the comments, then you kind of link that to, you know, that's how my organic business kind of just started. So you kind of, I sort of put the business on me, like that's how I ended up, you know, falling into an organic business. But sometimes I use the back office as the way to kind of just introduce them to something that might do like a mental link to the fact that there's but I also do the wellness purpose abundance. I always tell them that, and that Gary was very specific when he was building his business to always speak into someone's that those premises were never to be mixed up. So lets them know that you're invested in their wellness, and that's where they should be putting their focus. And I sort of then flip it to me and said, you know, as a result of me getting that wellness, the other 2 pieces that Gary built kind of flowed from that I actually became very purposeful. It gave me a purpose. And the abundance piece he kind of built in for us. So that's what I'm if there's anything on the table I can help you with, I'll help you with that, and just see how you go with that. So I kind of try and I guess I introduce it a little bit through that back door, but using still vernacular that has like business related, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not shy in coming forward and saying that, Young Living is a multi-level marketing company. I let them know that. And and it's okay too. And so it all depends where your comfort is with, because a lot of people get stuck with, I've got someone getting someone connected, really excited, getting a PSK, I've done a really good job. Now I've got to, go to the next level of, explaining more about, or what it means if they get somebody connected. So I have always just eased into it, rather, because it's always been, for us, I suppose I come from the era where it's always been product driven. But oh, hi Karina. Nice to see you on video there, Dylan. So I guess that's the way that I still do it, and I probably will still continue to do it. But once they start to show interest and they want to, I say things like, you can tell a friend, tell a family member. I mean, I'm with you on that, Cresta, as well. I mean, we got all our kids connected that weekend. Then we got mum connected. So then they all sit, above, and they all get their products paid for, which is fantastic. So if you've got family, like, always get them connected if they've got to be 18 and over. So always get them connected and position them in the business there. Position them in your top legs if you can, or as close to.
Just commenting in, because I think Karina might want to ask a question. I feel like maybe that's why you came on camera, but I'm just going to, no, okay. I'm just going to say something here, is that I often talk, so a lot of my, I guess, connections know Thermomix. And I can see you've got one in the background there, Louise. And so for me, I often relate it to Thermomix, because they kind of understand that, having a Thermomix consultant. And so I sort of say in a sentence, it works kind of like Thermomix. So, if this was an example of a lady, so she lived in Singapore and she had an account there, but she's been back in Australia for 18 months. And she said, I'm going to try and get reconnected back there. And I said, well, it kind of works like Thermomix. If you do that, your support person is going to be over there. If you, if you want to sign up with me, or if you want to sort of, get supported by me, then you'll sign up here, and just do it that way. So I just found that a lot of people seem to feel quite comfortable with the way that Thermomix works.
Well, because it's all coming from direct selling, and that's what we are. We are, it's direct selling, right? So Thermomix is the same. Slight difference is we're wanting people to order every month. Yep. So we're going to have to show them how that 50 PV, what that $85, break it down even further to $85 is what, $22 a week. And Barbara, a perfect example of this is Jo. And she was like, oh no, I don't want to spend money every month and all that sort of stuff. But she wanted all this stuff at the same time. Like, they really want it, but they don't want to spend the money. So it's kind of like just guiding them into, well, you're spending the money anyway. Like, you're spending $20 anyway. Like, women can spend hundreds of dollars a month on stuff that they don't even realize. Well, if they're budgeting, well, they probably do. But a lot of women will just grab things for the sake of it. I know. I always go to the supermarket and I grab what I don't need. I grab an extra something. We're all doing that. So I remember when Zara said for her and her Essential Rewards monthly order, it helped her budget the household budget, basically, because she would write down things that she would need rather than buying it from the supermarket or wherever, the health food shop. She would basically go to Young Living. So I guess, just showing people how they probably can afford $22 a month, right? And not be put off by it, because that's basically what 50 PV is. And if you get them on 50 PV, particularly in the current market, 50 PV there is there for a reason. A lot of people say you've got to sign up on 100 PV. Even Mary Young says you don't. We don't want to push people away for them to think, oh, I've got to sign up on 100. We actually don't need people doing 100 PV until they're earning their commission. So, what's the intent around this? Is it because you're wanting more PV, or you really wanting people to have 50 PV and getting the great benefit of these products? Because if they can't do 100, and they don't think the 50 PV option is there, they won't do anything. So you're better off having a 50 PV Essential Rewards member, and just they learn a lot. Then they're on these calls, or they're on the education calls, they're on Sula's calls each month, and then they can learn that way how they can actually expand on that. Because 50 PV, eventually they start spending a little bit more. They look at the product guide, they look at the desk reference if they've got, and they realize, you know, this is the company I want to be with. So I really like 100 PV, obviously, to kickstart the account. That's the, you know, the sign-in process, as we know. But if you want to keep them on, I always say to people, look, I'm going to get you connected on the Essential Rewards loyalty program, because for this order, you're going to get 10 points. And are you all right with that? And always they say yes, always, because people like to get points. And then you really have to monitor. That's why this follow up, you've got to follow up. If you don't follow up and an order gets slipped through and they get the same one next month, you've basically lost them. You know, because then they get irritated, you know, money's gone out of my account, then you've got this whole debacle. So just really, really follow up. The fortune is in the follow up. So that member is really important that you build that relationship with.
So when do you get back in touch, Louise?
I normally give it a couple of weeks, because the other thing, that there's a fine line too. Like for me, I kind of think, what would I like? And I don't want someone from a network marketing company, because before Young Living, we used to get people contacting us all the time for Zeolite, Amway. They probably looked at us and thought, oh, there's a good family. Gee, they've got a bunch of kids. They could do with extra money and all that. They would hound us. We just had to say it was awful. And that's why, even with Young Living, that's why I said on stage last week at Thrive, I didn't want to know anything about it. And you hear most Royal Crown Diamonds, they would say the same thing. Diamonds, they would say, I didn't want to know anything about the business. Nobody wants to know about the business. But it kind of unfolds and falls in your lap. It's just, if it happens like that, like I can honestly say that's how it happened for me, because of my connection with Julia and Julia's connection with Lisa, my connection with Liz and her connection with Caitlin, my connection with Nora, and then Sam, you know, it just all unpacks. And so we just have to hold that space and trust the process of each other, because I can't know everyone, you won't know anyone. We all rely on each other's contacts to bring in the right people that want to take this message further. And it's all about the message, really. And the income, the rank, that will come, that will just come. If that's your main thing, got to get that rank, got to get that income, that's good to have there. But I think if it's heartfelt and we're coming in for the right purpose, even more so today, just sharing these products, people will feel that energy behind that, rather than, oh, it's another network. Like these people, they just hounded us. Really, it was awful. So so to answer your question, I'd give it a couple of weeks. Like for example, we're using Jo as an example. I'm sure she won't mind. I met her at a coffee shop, and I mentioned the word mold because it was raining so much. She said, oh yeah, I've got mold. And then there you go. And the other thing is, ask open-ended questions. So then I started asking her questions. I find some people, I've heard some people, they just talk about, you know, telling your story is one thing, but talking and not hearing and listening. I think if we just step back and just listen and ask a question. So they have to come back to answer you, because everybody's got something that Young Living can help them with, if we will listen.
Does anyone have any questions?
I just wanted to say, it goes back to a conversation we had, Louise, with yourself and Olaf a good couple of months ago. I think Olaf said, just try to have the conversation once a day, just bring it into a conversation once a day. And then even if, like, what's happening to me is I'm not trying, like I just use the products and I have them everywhere. That, like on the weekend, I was at a family gathering and someone ate too much cake and had really bad pains in the stomach. And I got out the Digest roller out of my bag. I'm like, come here, put some of this on your stomach and you'll feel a little bit better in about 15 minutes. Well, today I get an Instagram message. What was in that roller? It was amazing. So, and I wasn't even at that time in that conversation thinking about it. They're my go-to. I just use them and I just talk about them all the time. So I'm doing that more and more without even realizing as well, which is awesome.
But that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Because you saw somebody had a need, you saw somebody.
Yes.
And I have to say, I think, you know, and Julia, you know, the way Gary was, I think Gary thought a certain way. He had a certain purpose and a certain way of dealing with people. And I think we all align to that kind of frequency, frequency. So he would do that. Like, you know, there's plenty of footage of Gary in China or wherever he traveled to, rubbing oils on old women's hands, you know, because they've got arthritis, they've got pain. Absolute care, like you did. That's exactly what Gary would have done. Pull out an oil, someone's suffering, and that's coming back to what we said before. That person had the experience. What was in that oil? Because it worked. And that's it.
It was even a competition because Grandma got out the Mylanta tablets, and I went, no, you don't need those.
Oh dear.
I was like, no, you don't need those. This will work much quicker.
And it does. If you put oils in the belly button, I don't know if you've ever done that.
Not in the belly button. No, this was
straight for the belly button. Go straight into the belly button.
This was my 26-year-old stepson. I'm just like putting it on his stomach.
Well, he probably wouldn't feel comfortable, but I'm talking about for you personally. I'll just show me your belly button. No, but if you've got a child, you know, yourself or someone that's a little bit that you can, or they can do it themselves. I mean, I put oils in my belly button. I put Progestin Phyto Plus in my belly button, and Jeanette taught me that. See, we all learn from each other. She said, if you put Progestin Phyto Plus in your belly button at night, it will help with sleep. And it really does.
Okay.
So anything, and I've used Digize in the belly button before also, because what happens behind the belly button, there's all these, I mean, you think about that was our life force, right? So it's a very, very important point in the body. And behind the belly button, there's all these little antennas, and it just will go and send the message to what needs to happen. It's just simple like that. I keep things really, really simple. So yeah, belly button. I think it's Ayurvedic medicine. They do the belly button medicine, if anybody knows that as well. So hi, Angela. Whose team are you in, Angela?
I'm with Julia.
Oh, you're with Julia.
Hi, thanks for coming in.
Where are you, Julia? What part of the world are you in?
Angie.
Julia or me?
You.
Oh, me. Sorry, I thought you said Julia. Well, normally in Sydney, but I'm in Tassie at the moment.
Okay. Oh, so you're in Australia. I thought maybe you could have been as well.
Angie and I were just about to do her order, and I'm like, oh no, can you jump on this one first, and then we'll do your order. But Angie's been with us a couple of months, and she's done an incredible job sort of absorbing the information and going. I teach her one thing, put thieves in her coffee, and she's on it the next day. No. So, and Angie, you were a skeptic at first too, because we were just chatting before about sometimes the people that have the most questions and have a bit of skepticism. If you sort of spend time into that conversation, then you can really bring people around because you've satisfied their curiosity, because you were sort of one of those people, weren't you?
Very much so. I remember when you brought out the oils and I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, we've all had that feeling. I mean, I remember when I was sitting in front of Linda and Alan's there pouring oils all over his head and down his mouth, and I'm going, oh, this is really weird. I had that too. I thought, oh, you're mad. Don't do that, because, you know, I use in essence oils for years, and it was like, you don't do stuff like that. Yeah. So Cress,
so Angie, this is our diamond leader, Louise, just to introduce you.
Oh, okay. Hi. Louise.
So Louise was the one that originally connected me, and I know that you've connected. We're going to connect Danielle, and we're going to connect. We've connected Amy. So Louise and Cressida are just sharing some of the ways in which they've organically and, you know, naturally helped people by sharing and then getting their own oils paid for.
And I would always also say, when you have an in-house event, keep it small. don't think by inviting like 20 people or whatever is gonna do the job. I think sometimes, I mean, yes, that can work. And I know that when Lisa and I first went over to Sula's, because I used to go over to Sula's, and well, Lisa and I would co-host with Sula. And I think we did that for about, I don't know, 4 or 5 meetings, and she would get like sometimes 14 to 20 people in the room. Maybe different for Sula because she's already has a big following and she's already got that built in. But for, I think, the more the average kind of person working with young living and sharing, I think keep your gatherings smaller, because then it becomes more intimate and you don't have to do the big numbers. I think, you know, 4 to 6 people is ample. Keep the whole presentation that you're doing simple. You need to keep it duplicatable, because if they look at you, and of course there's also always exceptions. I'm using Sula as that exception because she's already got a following from, you know, the broth bar and all that. So she's like a unicorn. So she's a little bit different. So for us who don't have that sort of big following, don't be put off by that. You do a smaller one and keep your presentation very simple. Keep whatever it is you're putting out, like tea or coffee or whatever it is, very simple. Don't think like you've got to bake these cakes and do this and dips and whips and whatever. Just keep it simple, because you want the people sitting around the table to look at you to think, I can do that too. That is really key and really magic. Whoever your audience is, you want them looking at you going, hey, I can do that. And that's why even Adam Green would read off a script. Not that he needed to, because people think, oh yeah, I could read off a script. Like, I never liked the script thing, but basically, yeah, I just always just talk. I don't script or prepare anything. So yeah, keep your gatherings simple and yeah, easy for the other person to think, yeah, this is something I would like to do too.
So just following on from that, I agree with you. I think, you know, small, and, you know, you're talking to your friends and family, and that if you need help actually knowing the mechanics of putting someone onto the website, just reach out to your support person, because they'll be able to help you, or jump into the app and, like, I'm happy to help you. I don't care where you sit, happy to help you. And the other thing is just, I love the idea of just what Joe said, is that you just actually give people the experience. So if you've got a friend who has a need, you just share it with them. And that's, you know, that's the most beautiful organic way. You know, I've got a girlfriend who her son had terrible asthma. And so I just started to share oils, because he got a lot of respiratory things quite often. And so she's, you know, buys constantly, because I just helped her, but it just came from the heart. And I guess when it's that first sort of, you know, 2 people, it probably will be somebody close to you, and you know, you just want to help them. So there's nothing weird about it. And if you need any direct support about how the mechanics of doing it, just reach out to one of us. I'm sure Louise is always happy to help anyone in her team, and so I'm happy to help anyone. And Julie's nodding, she's going to help anyone. Like, it's all available to you to help your friends.
That's a really good point for anyone who's starting out and you don't feel like you want to be the only one in the conversation. You can reach out to, like, your support person and just say, could you hop on a call with me? I've done that with Liz quite a few times. She'll say, oh, Lou, can you hop on a call with me? Because I've got speaking to someone and she wasn't, you know, fully aware of something. She just wanted to have somebody else. It's good to edify people, because, you know, sometimes if you're speaking to a close friend or a relative, they might go, oh yeah, you just want me to do that. But if you say, you know, well, I can get Louise, or I can get Julia, I can get Cress, they can come on a call as well, and they can talk you through. They've been doing a little bit longer than I have been. And I think also, I know that our oils help things like diarrhea, eczema, asthma, whatever it might be. But I always go back to our products are for everyday use. Shampoo, conditioners, body wash, beautiful oils in the home, cleaning product. You know, I love washing my clothes in the laundry. I would never wash my clothes in anything else. I mean, I wash Olaf's clothes, and, you know, he's always out on site looking at jobs, and And I always do that at a cap of a little, or half a cap of the Thieves Household Cleaner, just a little bit extra. Always come out beautifully clean. So we use these products anyway. Everybody's shopping for this stuff. So you don't have to be talking about any disease state like eczema, asthma, whatever it might be. Our main message really needs to be everyday products, how people are using everyday products, rather than thinking we have to treat an ailment. Okay, that's why compliance came in 2015, because people were making all these sort of claims. Not that I'm saying you guys are, but just one-on-one you can say, I'll give this a try. But yeah, we do have to be careful about making claims. That's why they crack down, the TGA and the FDA crack down on people making medical claims, like frankincense cures cancer. Like, who would say that? Like, I just did.
Actually, I've got a question. Sorry, I'm going to go back. You said about running workshops. So within our team, we run 2 monthly online workshops and are planning on running, I can't talk this evening, a physical or in-person one once every 2 to 3 months, just because our lives are quite busy. Is that what kind of time frame did you do, or do you do with Barbara now?
Well, we were meeting at Barbara's like every Wednesday when the I'm calling it the mold season was around in Sydney. Yep. And we got people turning up to that. Some days we didn't, but we just hung out and had a coffee, and that was an opportunity for us to talk. Never cancel a meeting, always turn up, even if it's just with one other, because as we know, we don't know who that one other is. And even if it's your sister, doesn't matter, you can still go through something with your sister or your friend. Just don't write that off. So yeah, it all depends. Generally we would always have some dates set. So every few weeks we would do something, or just, you don't have to do the big group. The best thing to do is still, for me, one-on-one, that one-on-one conversation, sitting down with that one person and really honing in on what it is that they want. I get the product guide. Now, the product guide is the most brilliant tool. I've got one here. I've got a couple here. For me, the product guide, it's a beautiful, doesn't cost much, this product guide to buy. And what you can do, I haven't done it on this one, but what you can do is highlight the things that you like to use. You can loan it out and you just ask for it back. And I can't tell you how many times that's worked, because I will have on a post-it sticker, these are the supplements I like to use, and this is how I like to use them. And then the book's doing the talking for you, right? The guide's doing the talking for you, because you just telling, I love to use Ningxia Red, and I say why. I like to add mineral essence to it, and I say why. And I mark it off in the book already. And these are the oils that I use for sleep: cedarwood, rutabaga, tranquil. And I just mark it off with a poster sticker or highlight it. Like, the more basic you can get it and keep it simple, it's so much easier for you and for them, because you guys, everyone's busy. You don't have time to be creating stuff. I know some leaders have created stuff, which is awesome. And we've got all our resources in the Mighty Networks and the collective and all that sort of stuff. But one-on-one like that, this book is absolutely awesome. So always have a few copies of these on hand, and always take it out with you. I've always got one with me. They're great. And I've got ones that go back to 2000 and whatever. And I will still use them, because there's not a lot that's changed. If I haven't got one, I'll pull out an old one. Never get rid of them. I always hang on to stuff like that. So your product guide is an incredible tool for when you're doing an in-house or in-person or one-on-one. And so when your member has received their premium starter kit or their CEO, whatever they ordered, they get their product guide. Go through it with them. Don't just say, oh, there's a product guide and whatever. Just go through it with them.
Cool. All righty. Does anyone have anything to share, to ask? Thoughts?
Who's asking mineral essence? Oh, mineral essence. Yeah. Well,
what is it, Louise?
Oh, mineral essence?
Yeah.
Oh, mineral essence is it's an ionized minerals. So they're in liquid form. If you're allergic to bee pollen, if you're allergic to bees, you need to just test it and try it for yourself. Oh, thanks, Kerry.
Kerry's holding it up.
Yeah. Oh, that goes, 3 squirts of that goes in my Ningxia Red every day. would not be without it. So and when they go out of stock of these goodies, and you know, it's really tragic because when you come to love the products, but I know it tastes really, really strong. But if I've had, like, if I'm really tired or something's happened, I will just literally take it under the tongue. And it will absolutely ignite the cells. I don't think anybody on this call, I don't know if you've seen this, Julia, it was when, oh, Lisa, maybe you did. Anyway, when Alan and Linda were living up north, just on the near the Central Coast, he had this little machine where he would use a couple of drops of mineral essence and it would actually light the light. That's how powerful it is. It lights it up. Like he put water and it didn't do anything. He put something else and it didn't do anything, but he put mineral essence and he connected the two together and it lit up a little light. Not
because it's a conductor.
It's a conductor. And
Yep.
so it's going to light up your cells. So it's absolutely stunning supplement. It's been in the product guide for years and years, and it was very much, and still probably is today, still an unsung hero. And it gets forgotten. A lot of our products get forgotten. And I would encourage you to try every supplement that Young Living have, and just alternate if you can. But for me, I don't take everything every day. I do take Ningxia Red Mineral Essence every day. But you know, like the olive leaf and the Illumini, I just take them every other day. Some days I pause. Body integrate. Is not allowed, you know, even Gary said this is not about jamming supplements or in all the time. We need to let the body rest and integrate as well, what we have given it. So yeah, I do have my staples, and Omega Gize is back now. So if you haven't tried the fish oil yet, it's fantastic. It's fantastic fish oil with CoQ10 and vitamin D. So know your oils, know your supplements, and also know what claims you can make on them, because basically, like Kerry with the mineral essence, there's claims, you know, like inner defense, say for example, it says that it will support your immune system. So we can be a little bit more open with what we say about some of our supplements because they're all TGA approved.
I've got a challenge for anyone who wants to participate in it. This is taking a leaf out of my friend Kerry's book. Who wants to commit to writing a post of all of the, like, of everything they use every day for like whatever time frame? So I post every day, sometimes multiple times a day. So I'll accept that I'll do it every day. But for anyone else, you know, to post on some of the things, it doesn't have to be the supplements, but anything that you use every day. I challenge you, all of you, to post about it, whatever time frame. So if you only post once a week, do that. Yep, a challenge, Kerry. I took that from you. And yeah, just it encourages you just to start talking about it. So, you know, tell a friend, post it on social media, put it in your Facebook thing. Known as Facebook thing. I'm not really very familiar with Facebook, but yeah, just talk about it. Don't keep it secret. Help your friends feel as good as you are.
Yeah. And if you've had experience with our products even for 1 month, you've already had an experience and you know more than the person that hasn't. So some people have said to me, oh, I can't talk about it until I learn more. And I go, no, just talk. How are you feeling? How's it made you feel? Like, you know, Julia, I remember when Julia came back and she told me what happened in the States with the nut, and she had to use nutmeg and digize, you know, so there's her story. It's powerful. And that's helped so many people. Yeah, I take Master Formula too.
Me too.
Yeah.
And the other thing on that, Louise, if I encourage people to include us all in their community and say, like, for example, Ange or someone who hasn't been using that long, they can say, oh, I don't know the answer, but one of my colleagues, I've got a great colleague that might know the answer to that because she's had digestive issues, or, oh, a really great colleague of mine, she's amazing with skin, let me check in with her. So that also lets people know that you're already within a community, even though you've only just started.
Yeah, set up a 3-way call. And yeah, so you can help each other. Or yeah, for sure. Somebody wants to know about what happened with the nutmeg and
You don't have to
digize.
spill the beans, Julia.
Julia.
What's that?
What does digize and nutmeg do? There's a lot of questions about it.
Oh, is there? Well, the nutmeg, in a nutshell, nutmeg is very good for the inflammation. So anything within, any organs within that are inflamed, and the digees I tend to use more if there's just sort of topical uncomfort from too much food or too much acid or something. But yeah, the nutmeg I tend to use for actual inflammation.
So do you take that orally or?
No, topically. Topically, I use it topically. Digees I will take orally in some warm water. And sometimes if I know I'm going out or doing something, I will put the digees in a little bit of warm water before I go out and have that like a tea, not too hot. But I go straight with my nutmeg, just on my wherever the inflammation is. If it's sort of a little bit lower down, I go above the pubic bone. But for me, it was often the bottom of the intestinal tract, the bottom of the bowel. So I tended to go sort of just below my belly button and just rub it in and give it 10 minutes.
I love nutmeg on the adrenals. So there you go, different uses. What about you, Louise? Do you have a favorite use for nutmeg?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I actually don't use nutmeg.
You don't like it, or?
I just don't have the need for nutmeg. Yeah.
There you go.
I just don't.
The reality is, for me, I actually have a really strong connotation now with when I wasn't that well. So I actually shy away from it myself. I'm a bit like Louise. I don't actually use it unless I really need it. I never travel anywhere without it, but rarely nowadays do I use it. And I'm very grateful for that. And so as a daily go-to, I will choose digees over nutmeg.
Yeah, you've got to be mindful with nutmeg as well. It can be a little bit hallucinant, whatever you call it. Like it can make you feel a little bit lightheaded. So use it sparingly. It's a very, very strong, so strong. The oil is so strong. I mean, I would use it if I really had to, but it's not one of my go-to oils.
It's beautiful.
I would
just to answer Kerry's, if you have the type of inflammation that is creating a lot of pain or a lot of discomfort, that's when I go to nutmeg. But I normally know my body so that I will get to the nutmeg before it gets to that point. But as your day-to-day, if you don't have, I would be inclined to just stay with your digees.
Yeah.
I actually love nutmeg and banana smoothies. So there you go.
Yeah.
Same, Cress.
And
porridge.
It's really strong. It's really, really strong. So just because I know some people have had sort of like different experiences with nutmeg. So some people.
Do you know that nutmeg, that's the same with the dried like nut as well. If you have too much of that, it's also a little bit hallucinogenic. Not just the oil. It's exactly
the oil is way stronger.
Yeah.
Seriously, in porridge, like I have a decent bowl of porridge most days, and one drop is like, you can taste it. So it's like I put a bit of coconut oil, a bit of nutmeg, a bit of cacao, and it's just so good.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's really good. And on the adrenals.
My sense of smell is very, that Pavlovian instinct. So that's kind of like, now I'm like, I've had all the nutmeg I really need for my life.
You're like, no more.
But yeah, nutmeg, I like black pepper.
Same.
Black pepper is really good for inflammation as well. And you look at it, I mean, they're all spices that, the Asians use, right? In the East, they use nutmeg. I mean, Olaf always puts nutmeg when we have soup. He loves nutmeg. Black pepper, and there's a reason, right? Lemongrass. That's why they cook with all these spices. And but the other thing that I'd say, if you've got your bottle of abundance oil and you're running a class or you're having a one-on-one, always use your use a drop of abundance, because the most beautiful oil and the frequency of abundance really does radiate. It really does work. Always have, if you haven't got abundance oil, purchase it on your next order, or better still, you can get it on your points, right? Because it's been around for so long. Always have abundance oil, because it's not just about money. It's also abundance of relationships, health, wealth, the whole thing, right? Just always have your bottle of abundance. It's a beautiful. Have you all tried abundance oil before? No. It's just divine. It's really, it's got myrrh in it. It's really thick. This is a really old bottle. I've got some old bottles with the old label still. Yeah,
I
it's
was
good.
at Kerry's house the other day and I smelt Abundance for the first time and really liked it. So it's on my list of oils to get.
Yeah, just get that one.
Definitely. Yeah.
Careful when you've got white on because it's quite thick, and yeah, it's just a really beautiful. How do you take Master Formula? Now I haven't got the chat up.
How do you make to take master? That's the question.
Oh, yeah. Well, along with my Ningxia Red and my mineral essence goes in the Master Formula Essentials as well.
Oh, do you? I just squeeze it straight in my mouth.
Yeah, I've done that too. But sometimes
Yeah.
I just
And
put
then
it-
actually Alan said he freezes his and it's really nice like that as well.
I've tried
Like
that
a
too.
popsicle. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go. Barbara has it in the freezer.
Yeah. I just like I'm not into, particularly in the winter,
Cold
into
things.
having frozen. I like warm, keep the body warm, hot, warm things. I don't ever have ice things in winter. So I tend to just cut it and put it in there. I just make this cocktail with, add lemon oil as well. The Master Formula Essentials is really good. Yeah. I was wondering if it was too much juice. Oh no, it's because it's quite thick, so it's not a juice like Ningxia Red. It's not like the Ningxia Red sachet. Yeah, you got, and this is the thing, try these different supplements and feel it in your own body. Just feel it yourself. Some people can't take the mineral essence. Some people just cannot take it. So just see what works for you.
Yeah, I think it's good for B vitamins, good for times of stress.
Yeah.
Just acknowledging that it's getting quite late, and I can see Michelle is struggling to hold her head up, and I'm feeling much the same way.
Yeah,
So
too.
unless anyone has any questions, and if you think of anything, just shoot them through and we'll answer them.
Yeah, and do that challenge. Have a bit of fun with it.
Yeah, we can all tag each other, and if you do it on social media, or if you just tell your friends, just pop it in a chat somewhere and let us know. Let us celebrate you.
Look at Michelle Rankin, the light's getting dimmer. Off she goes.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. I'm just going to stop the recording here and just stop that.